Hi, everyone. It is Thursday evening. It's regional weather meteorologist Matt Wintz. We have a lot to talk about. We have lake effect snow that's going to affect a very small percentage of Northwest Indiana tonight, but could be pretty impactful, especially for that morning rush hour. We also have some cold air to talk about. And then next week, it's super interesting, especially with the latest model guidance. You're probably starting to hear about it. We've mentioned a few people on messages over the last couple of days, but it looks like there's going to be a pretty decent sized storm system across the central U.S., and that puts us smack in the middle of what could be a big winter weather event next week or a rainy event, depending on what side of the spectrum you're on. So we're going to talk all about that. We're going to detail the lake effect snow tonight, exactly who's expecting it, how much. And as always, we'll keep that forecast real, all in this edition of Region Weather Live. Happy Thursday, everybody. Just want to say a couple things. We are streaming on our YouTube channel as well. So if you do not follow us on YouTube, YouTube is such a great way to just get it on your TV. You can get alerts. You can just watch on TV. That's the coolest thing that we've been doing recently in terms of technology around here, right? Big deal. But we're also streaming on there as well. Just want to let you know. All right, welcome in, everybody. Region weather meteorologist Matt Wintz. If you have not joined us before, we'd like to keep things real. I'm not going to give you all the hype and all the glory with this lake effect snow, because a lot of us are not going to see the big lake effect snow totals tonight. So here's what we're dealing with right now in terms of the radar. Things starting to get going. What we've been waiting on is an Arctic front to drop south. It's just basically a front that originates in the Arctic. We see them all the time this time of year. And boy, last couple of weeks, we've seen a lot of them. And what we've got going on is this front's dropping across the lake. It's switching our wind direction. It's already coming out of the northwest. That's starting to pick up some lake effect moisture, and we're starting to see some of these heavier snowbursts develop now on kind of the leading edge of this real chilly air as it moves in. But you can see over the last couple hours how the radar starts to blossom. I'll kind of fast forward it to right now. And we've got some bursts of snow that are getting ready to move on in. Michigan City will see some decent snowflakes, especially the northeast side of the city over the next 5 minutes or so. And then we're waiting on this out over the lake. There's this little boundary that's developed here. That's a decent snow squall that'll push through. And then we've got some more out over the lake here. This is what we're waiting on here in northwest Indiana. But I would imagine this kind of fills in over the next 15, 20 minutes or so, and we'll begin to see some heavier snows just sporadically. I mean, it'll come down real good, and then it'll be done. And that'll happen probably over the next 20 to 30 minutes or so along our coastline, and eventually that'll work inland. So what happens after this? So this is our initial push. This often happens when you have colder air coming across in terms of a frontal boundary. So this is moving across the lake. After this goes by, what we'll likely see is we'll try to develop some snow out over the lake, and that will be our concentrated snow band that's got everyone's attention this evening, especially tonight in terms of some of that lake effect snow. Where do I expect it to target? We're going to look at some of the models. We'll also look at what the models are saying in terms of amounts, and then I'll give you my thoughts on it. But the models have been pointing this thing. Right now, wind is out of the northwest, right? So wind coming in like this right now. But what's going to happen as we go throughout the overnight, that wind is going to turn a little bit more northerly, and then eventually it's going to turn a little bit more northeasterly. And so that's going to target our lake effect band, which will likely develop out in here. Sometimes it's way over here out towards areas near, southwest lower Michigan. That is not where we're expecting to develop. It'll likely develop right up in here. I think that's what we're starting to see now. And that would target areas, probably Lake County. That's what we were hinting at this morning. So it would probably come in something like this. And then we'd probably see it affect even downtown Chicago, somewhere in here. So this is where I'm expecting that lake effect band to develop overnight tonight. We're waiting on it. It hasn't happened yet, right? Lake effect is so fickle. You never know where it's exactly going to fall in terms of the exact mileage, but we get a pretty good idea in terms of vicinity where it's going to end up. For those of you in Porter County, we're going to see some snow here shortly. LaPorte County will see snow shortly, but I don't think we see the heaviest of totals tonight in that area. In fact, I don't think we see a whole lot in Porter County or LaPorte County. I think this is mainly a Lake County and then back into Cook County and even DuPage County back in Illinois. I think this will affect probably areas like this tonight. So anywhere in that circled area, I think that's where this lake effect band sets up. Is it going to be the world's biggest lake effect band of snow? Absolutely not. Is it going to put down some serious snow for a small amount of time? It definitely could. We're looking at, if you look at the instability out over the lake and what this air mass that's coming in is causing, we could see 1 to 2 inch per hour snowfall rates in that really tight band wherever it goes, right? And you guys know how this works. If you're in it, boy, are you in it. If you're out of it, you're probably not going to see anything, right? Now, where is this going to move as we go throughout the day tomorrow? So I expect it to set up in here tonight. And then tomorrow, as we go throughout the morning, it will likely start to shift east a little bit. But I think it really starts to die out as it pushes into Porter County. So I really don't think it's going to be much of an event tomorrow afternoon and evening when this thing's finally moving on out, okay? So that's what we're dealing with there. All right, so I want to get you to the models because we can look at radar all day long, right? That doesn't tell us exactly what's going to happen on radar tonight, tomorrow when it really matters. So let me get to, I'm just going to flip this around real quick and we'll share a different product here. Here we go. All right. So this is what we're looking at. And I'm going to get in here close so you guys can see it as always, right? Okay. So here's what, this is the model I like best. I've looked at all of them. This is the NamNest, right? Very familiar. If you guys follow Region Weather enough, we talk about this quite a bit. The HRRR has a good grab on this as well. I think the WRAP has a decent grab on it, but I really like the NamNest in terms of what this looks like. So here we go as we go through time. Again, here's the push I think we're getting right now, where we get kind of just some squalls that develop on the leading edge of that cold air as it moves in. So everyone tonight, as this cold air sinks in, you watch how these snow showers that are in Chicago now and out over the lake, watch how they push inland. And there's some pretty decent snow bursts in there. So I think everyone stands the chance, even outside of the snow belt, of seeing a burst of snow tonight, right, as that front moves through. So that could put down a quick coating. It's going to get gusty with it as well. But once that moves through, everything kind of quiets down outside of the snow belt. So we're now talking, this is now midnight. This is approaching 1 o'clock in the morning. And you see what we have developing out over the lake, a really intense snow band that will be coming off the lake, likely aimed at Lake County or over into Cook County and the Illinois side of things. All right. So where does it go from there? You can see as we go through time tonight, we get another burst of snow everywhere in the snow belt, says the NamNest. So that could put down another coating, maybe a ½ inch for those of you in Porter and LaPorte County, even as far south as Stark, Newton, and Jasper counties as well. But again, that's not the big story. Okay. I'm not doing a Region Weather Live for that ½ inch of snow we might get outside of the snow belt, right? The real reason for this is where that band sets up. And you look at this latest model run, that is a really intense band of snow, likely 1 to 2 inches per hour. The main models have kind of shifted it west throughout the day, so that brings it into the south suburbs of Chicago. Whiting, Hammond, Gary will be right on the edge of that. It depends on where this ends up going because models don't always have an exact feel on lake effect snow, right? So it's going to be more of a MyCast thing. But you can see we're now into that morning rush hour, and there's an intense band of snow between us and Chicago. So for those that have a morning commute between here and Chicago tomorrow morning, you're likely to encounter some pretty decent snowfall rates and likely snow-covered roads and a mess, right? If we shift this thing a little bit further east into Lake County, it becomes a Lake County problem for that rush hour outside of just the extreme northwestern portion. So we'll have to watch where this goes. I do feel like, at least my gut of predicting lake effect snow for the last 16 years, I do feel like this is going to be a northwestern Lake County problem. As you get into the eastern half of the county, into Porter County, we'll probably have some snow showers and some flurries, but nothing like that would be of a huge impact. So as we go through the day tomorrow, you see how that snow band just sits there. It just sits over Cook County and northwestern Lake County. So Whiting just getting more snow all the way through afternoon. And then here's where it starts to wind down. And you notice that push, there's dry air coming in. So it really helps to kind of shrink the coverage of that snow. And then it finally pushes it off towards the east. So yeah, we're likely to get some snow before it's all said and done in Porter County. That will transition over into areas of LaPorte County as well. Could get some good snow bursts, sure. But in terms of the big totals, those are expected to be in northwestern Lake County and then Cook County. And then everything pushes on out. And that will set the stage for a pretty quiet weekend locally, but the East Coast will be dealing with likely a blizzard this weekend as well. All right, so how much snow are we talking? I think this model has a good handle on it as well. I mean, I rarely say that for lake effect, but you can see as we go through time, yeah, there's a coating to 1/2 inch elsewhere, but look at that concentrated area. This is ramped up over the last model run as well. This is saying 12, 14 inches of snow just across the border. And that all happens by tomorrow this time, right? So that's pretty intense snow as depicted by the NAM-NEST. And you notice the cutoff here in Northwest Indiana. Boy, we go from this model saying Gary 1 inch to Whiting, 4 inches. And then we talk, a foot of snow a little bit further up the road along the toll road or the sky bridge for sure. So what are we to do about this? If you're in northwestern Lake County, I think you are really the one that needs to worry about this. So that would be from 65, US 30, north and west of that, right? Everyone else in Lake County, we're going to keep an eye on the radar, right? If this thing's off by 20 miles or so, that's a big difference. But I really think this is going to be a northwestern Lake County problem, and it does coincide with that morning rush hour. So again, plans between Chicago and here in Northwest Indiana, you're going to have some problems tomorrow morning. I think you'll still have some problems tomorrow afternoon, even for that evening commute, depending on where that band goes. And obviously, we'll have forecasts for that. Okay. So that's what we're dealing with in terms of the lake effect snow. We're going to save some time for your questions at the end, as always. We have a very active week next week. My goodness. As a meteorologist, I'm like, wow, this looks interesting next week. So let's look at it. I'm going to share it with you. And obviously, again, we'll keep things real. What do we need to know at this point? And what are the models saying? So hopefully you guys can see this okay. And I think you can. So we'll get into this. So here's where we are right now. I'm going to show you the Euro model. They're all pretty similar in terms of the handling of this. You notice the cold air. Here's our Arctic front. It's just kicking off snow all across the Great Lakes. It's just cold air settling in. Very, very cold air. The cold air that's gushing in right now is going to make it all the way down into central and southern Florida. They're going to have some of the coldest readings they've had in a long time down there. Miami is going to be in the 30s at some point. Orlando's probably going to get a hard freeze. This is really, so all the wind that's gushing over us right now, right, with this Arctic front, just keep remembering that's going to head all the way down to Florida. It's really incredible how far south this air is going to go. But you can see how it's kicking off snow all the way down. So we mentioned earlier this week on regionweather.com how this cold air is sinking down. It's also meeting up with an area of energy off the eastern seaboard, and this is going to kick up that blizzard that we've advertised. It's not going to impact us, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. But this weekend, if you do have travel plans up and down the East Coast, probably from 95 eastward towards the coast, we're likely to have, it's just a monster storm, number one, but we'll likely have blizzard conditions. They'll have winds 60, 70 miles per hour, very heavy snow. The good news for them in New England is that this has shifted just a little bit further off the coast. So it's not impacting as many people, but boy, Boston, Cape Cod, Martha's Vineyard, even New York City, they're going to get hit pretty hard from the storm this weekend. So that'll be your national news you're hearing about, is this big blizzard on the East Coast. Again, that is being caused in part due to the cold air that's coming over us right now. So pretty interesting to know that what's over our head is going to impact a bigger scale on the East Coast. So what happens? We get colder this weekend. It's going to be pretty quiet. There's a weak system kind of coming down Sunday that's going to float through. We may see some snow showers. You see the Euro not really picking up on it. That may pick up. It'd be Sunday. We'd see maybe a couple flurries around, and maybe a little lake snow out in LaPorte County after that. But again, no big deal with that. Watch what happens though. That big system that heads up the East Coast, right? That is really a game changer in terms of it's stirring up our upper air pattern. So our upper air pattern's been out of Canada. We've had a northwest flow for the last really 2 weeks or so. It's been a pretty long cold stretch here. But as that system heads north, it's got to pull something else south, right? So everything kind of gets in flux. It's like a big teeter-totter. Everything's fluid up in the atmosphere. So that system, as it heads up, that big blizzard, is going to kind of change our pattern. It's going to change things from coming out of the northwest, and we're going to turn a little bit more zonal across the country. So that brings in our friend to the south, which we haven't dealt with recently, which we talked about our last Region Weather Live, the Gulf of Mexico. Gulf of Mexico tends to throw more moisture into storms, and you can get some pretty big snowstorms this time of year, especially as we turn the calendar into February. That's our biggest snowstorm month, especially across the eastern half of the country. So what do we have here? So we're now Monday. We're quiet, but we've got a strong southerly wind. So we're starting to warm things up. So we're going to be mild on Monday, especially compared to this weekend. And you notice as we go through time, there's an area of low pressure that forms up near Lake Superior or so. That will drag perhaps some rain in here on the day Tuesday. We'll be on the warmer side, but it'll also drag a cold front across. So we'll be mild to start Tuesday. Temperatures will likely fall after that. But then remember, we've got temperatures that are falling. At the same time, there's another system developing to our south. So we are now, by Wednesday, firmly entrenched in the colder air, right? Much of the northern half of the country is. There's a system that comes in from the south. There's another system that comes in from the west. Meanwhile, we've still got the boundary from that system that went by that brought the colder air in Tuesday night, right? And so look at what this develops here. And again, this is just a model. Things are going to change. But the idea of some elongated large area of precip, we'll call it a large storm, the idea of that has held over the last 4 or 5 days now. So we're going to have something next week. And this would be a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday system. So keep that in the back of your mind. I think this is just as worthy talking about as the lake effect tonight. But you can see what the Euro says right now. And again, this will change. But as of right now, this brings some snow back in here on Wednesday. Real heavy snow as we get it into Wednesday night. And then as that warmer air comes in aloft, we bring in Wednesday night, Thursday, some icing on top of everything. Isn't that great? And then a powerhouse low develops. We call this a delta low that develops down near Oklahoma, and it'll head right up through Tennessee and the Ohio Valley. We look to be in a messy spot with that, with lots of ice as it looks right now on Thursday. And then Friday on the backside of this system, cold air wraps in, we get some heavy snow, wind, temperatures will plummet. We'll likely have a lot of icing going on if this situation verifies. And then next weekend, we're firmly entrenched back in that Arctic air again. How about that with some lake snows going probably in Michigan? So that is just a really interesting storm system to watch. I haven't looked at any of the snowfall totals with it. And again, it's way too early to call this kind of stuff. But you know what I always say? We should never look at snowfall totals next week. Let's look at snowfall totals next week, shall we? Just to see. Let's just see what the models are saying. So there's your lake snow. You can see the Euro picking up on that Chicago, Northwest Indiana, like northwest corner of Lake County batch. And then let's kind of fast forward here. Whenever I'm streaming live, our internet team seems to take a toll, which is totally understandable. Yeah, so this, my goodness. I'm going to zoom in too so we can actually get some numbers. Again, please, this is just for kicks, right? Just something to look at for sure. But you can see the idea of perhaps the kind of storm we're dealing with next week, where this is painting, 5 or 6 inches here locally, but there's a quick transition to 19 and 17 inches in north central Illinois. So real interesting storm. Let's look at the GFS briefly, just to see what the GFS is saying on this storm next week. I'm going to imagine it's similar, and it is. So it brings that track a little further south. We're looking at a modest 30 inches next week at O'Hare, a modest 15, 16 inches of snow here locally. You can see 20 inches plus as you get up into Michigan. So again, you didn't hear it here, but we did take a look at it, all right? And then the GEM, which is the Canadian model, I usually discard the GEM, but the GEM's not looking too bad. Looks like 2 to 6 here, and then we're talking a foot of snow. Again, I don't want to, stir the pot or anything like that. I do like to give you a big heads up. So that's kind of what we're dealing with next week is a big storm system of some sort that could bring us some rain at the beginning, but it does look more like a snow and an ice event for us locally as of right now. Again, if track of that low changes, it could bring in warmer air that sometimes happens. Problem is, it's not late fall, early winter when that normally happens. It's January heading into February, so we've got a lot of snowpack across the northern tier. My innards are saying that we're going to have some kind of snowy, icy situation next week, and I think we'll stay away from the rainfall outside of Tuesday, that initial push. So real interesting. Okay. All right. I enjoy Caitlin's comment. I'm just now getting to your comments. She says, consider the pot stirred. That's right, Caitlin. I'm stirring that pot right up. Very good. Okay, so let's get to your questions. My voice is just hoarse. I feel completely fine. I don't have COVID. We've managed to escape that in our house somehow, but my voice is just shot. So sorry if I sound like a 20-year-old smoker, 20-year-long smoker. I promise I haven't touched that. Michael Johnson, I like your comment on the groundhog next week. Yeah, Susie, I tell you, next week does get interesting in terms of those snow days. We'll see. And, snow days are now e-learning days for many of us, which I think ruins it completely. Just take the day off. Come on, the kids used to for sure. So All right, so here we go. I think a lot of you probably joining, you didn't get the lake effect conversation up the top, and that's totally fine. We'll give it to you again. So I'm seeing, I'm going back, I've seen some of your comments. So Jessica and Ricky are asking snow totals for tonight. I'm seeing Kylie's asking how 65 will be tomorrow afternoon. How much will St. John get? So very popular questions, all about, Lake County pretty much. So what we're looking at tonight and tomorrow, everyone's going to get a burst of snow tonight. All right, we've got some snow moving in, and I'm going to get this on loop for those that are coming in so they can see kind of what this lake effect band's expected to do the next 2 days or so, actually next day or so. Everyone's going to get a burst of snow tonight. I think it'll put down a coating, maybe ½ inch at best, right? It's going to be windy. That burst of snow tonight is the Arctic front coming in, okay? That's what's going to trigger the lake effect snow. The lake effect snow looks to target Lake County, and it looks to target Cook County and DuPage County in Illinois. I don't think this lake effect snow is going to be a Porter County problem. I don't think it's going to be a LaPorte County problem. Are you going to see some snow? Yes, you'll likely have snow showers. Could you get an inch or two out of this whole event? Possibly, right? It's certainly possible. Is that noteworthy? No, you can handle it, right? The problem is in Lake County where this band sets up, and you can see it here as we go through the loop. You see that really intense band that sets up over Lake and then back towards Chicago. That's going to be the band that develops tonight that will likely target areas, I would say, from probably the Borman and 65 west, right? So Hammond, and this will probably be north of US 30 kind of issue as well. So Maryville, you're right on the point where you're going to be right on the line. And I kind of feel like you're not going to get a lot of snow from this. I think it's going to be more so the Hammond, Dyer, St. John, you're right on that line as well. Gary, you're right on that line as well. Whiting, you're going to be in the thick of it, I think, tonight and tomorrow. I think you're going to see quite a bit of snow from this. As you get up towards Chicago, the south suburbs of Chicago, Orland Park, as you get towards the lake, Calumet City, all going to be impacted tomorrow morning from that snow, okay? What we're talking about is a very narrow band of 1 to probably 2 inch per hour snows as this gets going. Models have been really consistent with this. And we could see over 6 inches in spots. Some of the modeling keeping the 6 inches right along the coast with not much more further inland. But bottom line, 65, I think, will be fine tomorrow morning. There'll be some snowflakes around, and we will have some bursts of snow overnight tonight. But I don't think the big problems are going to be on 65 tomorrow morning. I think it's going to be more 80, 94 as you're getting into Chicago. So from Gary over towards Chicago, that's going to be the mess tomorrow morning, okay? During the day and during the afternoon, that band will start to transition back. I don't think it's going to have as much punch to it, though, as it gets back into all of Lake County. It'll probably brush Porter and LaPorte counties for a little time, too. So we could pick up some light accumulations from that. But the main concern for everybody, even the Weather Service as well, in terms of their winter storm watches that have been issued, again, the main concern is that real heavy 1 to 2 inch per hour snow, because that's what the road crews cannot keep up with, and that's when things become problematic in a hurry, especially if it sits over an area for a long time, right? That's why you always hear where squalls persist or where the band of snow persists, right? So that's what we're dealing with. East Chicago too. Yes, Kristen, for sure. Sounds like the storm has my address. Oh, Kristen, come on. The chiropractor? Oh, I know it's been it's been rough. But we just didn't have it early on, so for sure. Daniel, hey buddy. Let's see. How are things 7:30 on the way to school? Thanks, Matt. Daniel, it depends on where you're going to school at or where you're taking the kids to school at. I forget what town you're in. But 7:30 is going to be in the heart of the snow. So the snow will develop tonight, probably. I mean, it's already getting going out over the lake, but I think by 2 a.m. we should know where the snow band's going. And then 3, 4, 5 in the morning, that's when it's really going to be affecting the area. And by area, I mean northwestern Lake County, then towards Chicago. This is going to go all the way through probably noon or 1 tomorrow with some decent snow. So wherever it's set up, we've got several hours of heavy snow, and then eventually it'll kind of die out tomorrow evening. So that morning commute, again, does look pretty rough, especially as you get more towards the Illinois, Indiana border, okay? Robert, yeah, we talked about it, buddy. Guys, anyone that's jumping in late, that's totally fine. Go back and watch. This gets posted on our Facebook page, so you can go back and watch. You can fast forward. You'll see the nationwide map. Yeah, we covered next week's big storm. It is very interesting. It's way too early to call what happens with it, but one thing that confidence is really high in is that there's going to be some kind of big storm next week, and that would be Tuesday through, let's just say, Friday at this point. Okay. So that's kind of what we're going with. Amanda, will we get a very early morning update from you? Amanda, what is going? You expect me to set my alarm? I'll get something for you tomorrow morning. Yeah, we'll have something tonight before I go to bed. I'll probably do some kind of radar to see where that band's setting up, and then tomorrow morning I will get something for you. Okay, Jeff, I appreciate that. And Barbie actually saying. Let me go back. Andrea, Valparaiso, not much. You'll get some snow over the next hour. You'll get a little bit of snow throughout this event, a couple inches at best, but I really don't think Valpo gets a couple inches at best. Barbie says snowing in Gary right now. Barbie, that's the actual Arctic front coming through. We tracked that at the beginning of this broadcast. So there's some bursts of snow that are going to come in next hour, pretty much for everyone as that sinks south. But anyway, so for Gary, you are right on the line. You are right on that line on if you're going to get buried or not. I have a feeling it's going to be from you west that gets the most snow. We're talking 6+ inches where that band sits. Some of the models like this one saying over a foot in spots. So we'll see. They'll get over a foot probably where if it sits for 4 or 5 hours, right? But the problem is they kind of waffle back and forth. So a specific total for you and Gary, it would be irresponsible of me to say. It really would, especially because you're right on that line. Our snowfall totals are going to go anywhere from 0 to perhaps a foot in a matter of like 20 miles. Okay. So to tell you exactly where your house is going to lay on that, I can't. I really can't. But I will. I'd say probably 3.5 for Gary by the time it's all said and done. We'll see. A lot more just to the west of you. So here's what the snow looks like. Again, notice the demarcation line. It's lake effect. This isn't a storm system, right, where everyone gets everything. This is an all or nothing situation. You can see, yeah, south suburbs of Chicago, 10, 11 inches or so, and then you get towards northwest Indiana. This model not saying much. Again, if we shift this a little bit, which it certainly could do, we could see more than that, okay? Chris asking about loaves of bread. I would say probably a loaf of bread, just one for Lake County people versus Porter. Oh, man. Boy, I think we need to divide Lake County up, Chris. I think we need to divide northwestern Lake County, where they should probably buy, let's say, 2 loaves of bread. The rest of Lake County, probably a slice of bread. And then Porter County, maybe a couple crackers or some croutons. Kim, you're welcome for sure. Caitlin, great question. Next week, most likely for an e-learning day. I'm a teacher in Portage. Thank you for the details on that. Locations always help, although everyone's going to be in the same boat. So if we did have an e-learning day next week, just for planning, I think Tuesday we're fine. I think Wednesday would be okay. Wednesday's when it gets interesting. But my best guess, if I had to at this point, would be maybe Thursday and Friday. We'll see. It could easily be Wednesday, Thursday, if that were to happen too. It depends on what happens here, okay? Oh, Gabrina, I appreciate you're so sweet. So I use StreamYard to stream on here, and so it goes live to all my platforms, which is great. So I cannot see my Facebook platform. I see your comments, which is great, but I can't see Facebook platform. And for those of you, every time I log off, I get an alert saying that you sent stars, which, Facebook, I can't say that because then they won't stream my stuff anymore. But thank you for that. They're just doing this money-making thing where you send stars and it's wonderful. Thank you so much for all those that send stars. Trust me. But they also make a cut of it too. And I don't like that. They're a business. I get it. We use them. We need them. But Gabrina, I really appreciate that. I really, really do, for that early morning update. I'll make sure that I do that tomorrow morning for you. Patricia joining us on our YouTube channel. Hi, Patricia. Driving from Elkhart to Maryville tomorrow night. What will I drive through? Well, that's a good time to drive. It really is. There'll probably be some lake effect snow showers over by South Bend tomorrow, late in the day. You'll probably encounter some leftover lake effect snow in LaPorte or even Porter County tomorrow. It depends on how late you drive. I don't think you're going to encounter anything too bad, though. I think the worst of it's going to happen between tonight and about 2. And again, that's towards Chicago and northwestern Lake County. And then we deal with kind of the residual as it moves through, okay? Lisa, Crown Point, I don't think this is going to be a big event for Crown Point. I really don't. We're going to get some pushes of heavier snow tonight, like probably the next hour or so. There's just going to be a little burst. And then we'll have some lingering lake effect snow showers tomorrow. I don't think this main band makes it down to you, though. So I think snow showers at best. I don't think you'll get in that heavy squall. Okay. Jessica and Ricky, I'll tell you, I hope so for you. I hope, for sake of all those that need a snow day, if we can shift this thing east about 20 miles, we'll be in the thick of it. But as of right now, Gary's right on that line. Okay. So that's kind of what we're dealing with right now. Let's see. Lots of questions. I like you guys. You guys are talking about snow shoveling. How much in the ground are you thinking on the ground at 4 a.m. in Dyer and Orland Park? Russ, that's an impossible question to answer with lake effect. You know better than that, Russ. Gosh, 4 a.m. If this thing sets up at midnight, Dyer's probably not going to have as much as Orland Park's a little bit further inland, though. Man, it just depends on if this thing gets going, Russ. I would guess probably in the 2 to 4 range, but that could be either really heavy or really light. But my best guess would be probably in the 2 to 4 range for both Dyer and Orland Park by then. We'll see. Winfield, not a whole lot, Ashley. Sorry. Carrie asks, where can you look up snow totals for cities and towns? Carrie, I get mine off of National Weather Service chat, which is something meteorologists use where we can chat with the Weather Service. They usually post, if you go to the National Weather Service pages, and a lot of people, when I post these snowfall totals for Northwest Indiana, I'm not picking and choosing. Those are the ones that are reported to me, and those are the ones that are reported to the Weather Service. So a lot of people are like, what about my town? Why'd you leave me off? I'm taking the official totals from the Weather Service. I'm not making numbers up. I'm not handpicking, right? Because a lot of people don't know how to measure snow. No offense. I barely know how to measure snow, so I take those from the Weather Service. So in terms of looking up official totals, Carrie, you can go to the National Weather Service website. They're the official ones anyway, so that's the best place to go. And they usually have either a graphic they'll post the following day from the event, or they'll have, you can look up, there are storm spotters that you can look up and see what they have reported that day. It's all on the National Weather Service website. And keep in mind, National Weather Service Chicago forecasts for Lake and Porter counties, whereas National Weather Service in Northern Indiana, that's another web page, they forecast for LaPorte County in Michigan. So you'll have to go to 2 if you're looking for everywhere, okay? All right, let's see. Barbie, that 6 to 12 is what a meteorologist. He said 3, and then he said a foot. What's he? Yeah, that's my whole goal, is to confuse everybody. But Barbie, I think you were asking for Gary. And again, you are right on that line. I mean, if you look at this model right here is saying 1 inch for you and Gary. But you go up the road a little ways and we're talking 9 to 10 inches. My gut says that this band the bulk of it does stay to the west of you. The models have kind of shifted that way. So, I would probably lean more towards the 3 if I had to put a number on it. But again, the models are there. They've taken everything into consideration in terms of what's happening with the atmosphere right now, and that's what they're spitting out. Whoever's underneath that snow band is probably going to see up to a foot. We'll go over 6 inches, but does it align in Gary? I don't think so at this point. I think it'll be west of you. But again, lake effect is a very fickle thing. If anyone tries to predict it and tell you exactly how much you're going to get from any lake effect event, they're blowing smoke. All right. Jeez. Some of your comments. Oh my gosh, I love you guys. All right. DeJuan is going to Kid Rock. Kid Rock's still around? Tinley Park tomorrow? Oh, Donna, that does not look good. That is just not a good time to go get tickets. Can't you just get them online? Tinley Park tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. We're leaving at like 9-ish. I mean, you could try it. It's this lake effect, so it probably won't snow where you think it's going to snow. But man, you run the risk of some pretty heavy snow being around, Donna. So please be careful tomorrow. Just get them online. Russ, yeah, I can zoom in. Actually, I can zoom in on this map for you. Oh, whoops, I zoomed in on the wrong thing. Hold on. Here. There we go. Again, this is just a model, so, take it with a grain of salt. I don't know. I lost my bottom. I can't move over here. Russ, it's all jacked up now. You asked me a tough question, and then I get all messed up here. I mean, you get the gist of it here. And again, this is just a model, so don't take this. Let's look at another model just to see what it says. Let's look at what the HRRR's saying. See, the HRRR has all the snow over in Illinois. That's why I didn't like it. Because I do think northwestern Lake County gets some of this for sure. But look at some of these totals it's spitting out. I mean, that's insane. For such a small event, I mean, that's a couple hours. They're talking over a foot. And here's the wrap model. It barely has anything. I don't think it has a good handle on the situation anyway. So that's why I went with NamNest. I like the NamNest. I like the way that looks. I don't like the way that looks. Oh, is this a new model run? Wow, you guys, this is a brand new. Is this a 0Z coming in? This is a 0Z. It has almost no snow for Northwest Indiana. Hello. And it brings it not even into Chicago, into the northern suburbs like Wilmette. Oh my goodness, that's a big shift. So again, let me just say this. This is why we kind of wait and see on lake effect events, right? I wouldn't buy this one yet. Again, it depends on where it sets up around midnight or so, but that's a big shift. The HRRR didn't have that in the latest update. The HRRR updates every hour. So that's interesting. Well, the HRRR does have that now. Look at that. Wow. So that brings all the snow into Illinois. It's an Illinois problem now. So we'll see. We'll see where this sets up. So that might be good news for Northwest Indiana. I mean, for the northwestern areas of Lake County, we'll see if that ends up being true. I would still say Gary off towards the west. I really think that's where we stand the best chance for snow with that band setting up tonight. That is very interesting, though. That is a big switch over one model run to another model run because that takes areas that I would guess Chicago stations are probably hitting us hard. I don't obviously have Chicago stations here, but I would guess they're hitting us hard. And I mean, they were probably saying, foot of snow just south of Chicago. And now it looks like it might not get any snow south of Chicago. That's lake effect for you, but we'll see. Again, this is the latest. We'll see if this holds true. But for us in Northwest Indiana, what we're worried about is I think if there are impacts, it's not Porter County, right? We're now really far away from this. It's not LaPorte County, Newton, Jasper. It's going to be Lake County, northwestern side of the county. We're going to have to keep an eye on where that band sets up and then out towards Chicago. Still looks messy back towards Chicago, okay? All right, so I think that's it. Yeah, I do too, Pam. She says, I hope the new one's spot on. I do too. I understand snow days, but messy travel, gosh, I hate when it gets messy. It's just, you're just tense, the anxiety when you're driving, and it's not usually you, it's usually the other drivers, right? So I hope we have a good commute tomorrow morning. So here's what we're going to do from here. I'll post a radar update. This lake effect should start to kind of get its act together. We'll have a good idea where this band sets up tonight. So I'll shoot out a post later on tonight on our Facebook page. And then tomorrow morning, Gabrina sent me some stars on Facebook. Thank you. So what we'll do is I will get up early for you guys and for Gabrina, and I will I'll post an update on terms of what the radar looks like tomorrow morning, where the snow is, where I'm expecting it to go. That way you guys can plan out your commute, okay? All right, that's it. Couple odds and ends. I want to thank everyone that's reached out in terms of sponsorship. We now have sponsors for February, which is pretty awesome. It keeps this free. I don't get paid for this. This does cost me money to have subscriptions to stuff, and I don't care because it's my hobby. But these companies are stepping up, and they're really going to keep this free for you guys because Facebook asked me if I want to do subscription service and stuff like that, because I understand this is good information, but I never ever want to charge you guys, the users, for something like this. That's ridiculous. And so I will not do subscription service ever. We're going to keep this free. And there are some great sponsors that are stepping up for February that are helping out. And anything, again, that we make on the side from sponsorship is going to go right back into Region Weather. And that includes some merchandise. So, again, I'm really picky with hoodies, but I'm going to have some hoodies for everybody here. And, again, that's in the works. So I'm super excited about that. Okay. All right. So get some sleep. Don't worry too much about the lake snow. Again, couple bursts of snow here this evening. And then we'll go from there. We'll see where this lake effect band sets up. And hopefully it's north of Chicago now. We'll see. I have a hunch it's going to be somewhere in between. So we'll go from there. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. Get some sleep. Enjoy your cherry juice. Hopefully you have a nice cup of cherry juice ready to go for this evening.